Back at it, 1st of August, 2025. First section in Scrutinies, which is the third and final volume in Carl Jung's The Red Book. Doesn't seem to have um different sections, so I will be stopping when I see fit, dividing it up, because it's, as I said, 40 pages. Oh, there are some appendixes at the back, appendices. Now, Scrutinies. I resist. I cannot accept this hollow nothing that I am. What am I? What is my I? I always presuppose my I. Now it stands before me. I before my eye. I speak to you. I speak now to you, my eye. April 19, 1914. We are alone, and our being together threatens to become unbearably boring. We must do something, devise a pastime. For example, I could educate you. Let us begin with your main flaw, which strikes me first. You have no correct self-esteem. Have you no good qualities that you can be proud of? You believe that being capable is an art. One can also learn such skills to some extent. But one can also learn such skills to some extent. Please do so. You find it difficult. Well, all beginnings are difficult. It's a proverb from the Talmud. Soon you will be able to do it better. Do you doubt this? That is of no use. You must be able to do it, or else I cannot live with you. Ever since the God has arisen and spreads himself in whichever fiery heavens, to do whatever he does. What exactly I do not know. We have depended upon one another. Therefore, you must think about improving, or else our life together will become wretched. So pull yourself together and value yourself. Don't you want to? Pitiful creature, I will torment you a bit if you do not make an effort. What are you moaning about? Perhaps the whip will help? Now that gets under your skin, doesn't it? Take that and that. What does it taste of? Of blood, presumably, of the Middle Ages. In majorem Dei gloriam, to the greater glory of God, motto of the Jesuits. Or do you want love, or what goes by that name? One can also teach with love if blows do not bear fruit. So should I love you, press you tenderly to myself? I truly believe that you are yawning. How now? You want to speak? But I won't let you. Otherwise, in the end, you will claim that you are my soul. But my soul is with the fireworm, with the son of the frog who has flown to the heavens above, to the upper sources. Do I know what he's doing there? Do I know what he's doing there? But you are not my soul. You are my bare, empty nothing. I, this disagreeable being, whom one cannot even deny the right to consider itself worthless. One could despair over you. Your sensitivity and desirousness exceed any reasonable measure. And I should live with you, of all people. I must, since the strange misfortune occurred that gave me a son and took him away. I regret that I must speak such truths to you. Yes, you are laughably sensitive, self-righteous, unruly, mistrustful, pessimistic, cowardly, dishonest with yourself, venomous, vengeful. One can hardly speak about your childish pride, your craving for power, your desire for esteem, your laughable ambition, your thirst for fame without feeling sick. The play acting and pomposity become you badly, and you abuse them to the best of your ability. Do you believe that it is a pleasure rather than a horror to live together with you? No, 3 times no. But I promise you that I will tighten the vice around you and slowly pull off your skin. I will give you the chance to be flayed. You of all people, wanted to tell other people what to do. Come here, I will stitch a cloth of new skin onto you, so that you can feel its effect. You want to complain about others, and that one has done an injustice to you, not understood you, misinterpreted you, hurt your feelings, ignored you, not recognized you, falsely accused you, and what else? Do you see your vanity in this? Your eternally ridiculous vanity? You complain that the torment has not yet come to an end? Let me tell you, it has only just begun. You have no patience and no seriousness. Only when it concerns your pleasure do you praise your patience. I will double the torments so that you learn patience. You find the pain unbearable, but there are other things that hurt even more, and you can inflict them on others with the greatest naivety and absolve yourself all unknowingly. But you will learn silence. For this I will pull out your tongue, with which you have ridiculed, blasphemed, and even worse, joked. I will pin all your unjust and depraved words one by one. I will pin all your unjust and depraved words one by one to your body with needles so that you can feel how evil words stab. Do you admit that you also derive pleasure from this torment? I will increase this pleasure until you vomit with joy, so that you know what taking pleasure in self-torment means. You rise against me. I am screwing the vice tighter, that's all. I will break your bones until there is no longer a trace of hardness there. For I want to get along with you. I must, damn you. You are my eye, which I must carry around with me to the grave. Do you think that I want to have such foolishness around me all my life? If you were not my eye, I would have torn you to pieces long ago. But I am damned to haul you through a purgatory, so that you too will become somewhat acceptable. You call on God for help? The dear old God has died, and it is good that way, otherwise he would have had pity on your repentant sinfulness and spared me the execution by granting mercy. You must know that neither a God of love nor a loving God has yet arisen, but instead a worm of fire crawled up, a magnificent, frightful entity that lets fire rain on the earth, producing lamentations. So cry to the God. He will burn you with fire for the forgiveness of your sins. Call yourself and sweat blood. You have needed this cure for a long time. Yes, others always do wrong, and you are the innocent, the correct. You must defend your good right, and you are the innocent, the correct. You must defend your good right, and you have a good, loving God on your side, who always forgives sins with pity. Others must reach insight, not you, since you have a monopoly on all insight from the start, and are always convinced that you are right. And so cry really loudly to your dear God. He will hear you and let fire fall on you. Have you not noticed that your God has become a fiery worm with a flat skull who crawls red hot on the earth? You wanted to be superior. How laughable. You were and are inferior. Who are you then? Scum that disgusts me. Are you perhaps somewhat powerless? I place you in a corner where you can remain lying until you come to your senses again. If you no longer feel anything, the procedure is of no use. After all, we must proceed skillfully. It really says a lot about you that one needs such barbaric means for your amendment. Your progress since the early Middle Ages appears to be minuscule. Oh, gosh. It goes on, imagine for quite some time. So April 20 now, 1914. On the same day, Jung resigned as president of the International Psychoanalytical Association. It says, did you feel dejected today, inferior, debased? Shall I tell you why? Your inordinate ambition is boundless. Your grounds are not focused on the good of the matter, but on your vanity. You do not work for humanity, but for your self-interest. You do not strive for the completion of the thing, but for the general recognition and safeguarding of your own advantage. I want to honor you with a prickly crown of iron. It has teeth inside that bore themselves into your flesh. And now we come to the vile swindle that you pursue with your cleverness. You speak skillfully and abuse your capability and discolor. Tone down, strengthen. Excuse me, you speak skillfully and abuse your capability and discolor. Tone down, strengthen, apportion light and shade, and loudly proclaim your honorableness and upright good faith. You exploit the good faith of others. You gloatingly catch them in your snares and speak of your benevolent superiority and the prize that you are for others. You play at modesty and do not mention your merit in the certain hope that someone else will do it for you. You are disappointed and hurt if this doesn't happen. You preach hypocritical composure, but when it really matters, are you calm? No, you lie. You consume yourself in rage, and your tongue speaks cold daggers, and you dream of revenge. You are gloating and resentful. You begrudge the other the sunshine, since you would like to assign it to those whom you favor because they favor you. You are envious of all well-being around you, and you impertinently assert the opposite. Inside yourself, you think unsparingly and coarsely only what always suits you. And with this, you feel yourself above humanity and not in the least responsible. But you are responsible to humanity in everything that you think, feel, and do. Do not pretend there is a difference between thinking and doing. You rely only on your undeserved advantage. Do not be compelled to say or do what you think or feel. But you are shameless in everything when no one sees you. If another said that to you, you would be mortally offended, despite knowing that it is true. You want to reproach others for their failings. You want to reproach others for their failings so that they better themselves? Yes, confess. Have you bettered yourself? From where do you get the right to have opinions of others? What is your opinion about yourself? And what are the good grounds that support it? Your grounds are webs of lies covering a dirty corner. You judge others and charge them with what they should do. You do this because you have no order within yourself, because you are unclean. And then, how do you really think? It appears to me that you even think with men, regardless of their human dignity. You dare think by means of them, and use them as figures on your stage, as if they were how you conceive them. Have you ever considered that you thus commit a shameful act of power, as bad as that for which you condemn others? Namely, that they love their fellow men, as they claim, but in reality exploit them to their own ends. Your sin flourishes in seclusion, but it is no less great, remorseless, and coarse. What is concealed in you, I will drag out into the light, shameless one. I will crush your superiority under my feet. Do not speak to me about your love. What you call love oozes with self-interest and desirousness, but you speak about it with great words, and the greater your words are, the more pathetic your so-called love is. Never speak to me of your love, but keep your mouth shut. It lies. I want you to speak about your shame, and that instead of speaking great words, you utter a discordant clamor before those whose respect you wanted to exact. You deserve mockery, not respect. I will burn out of you the contents of which you are proud, so that you will become empty like a poured out vessel. You should be proud of nothing more than your emptiness and wretchedness. You should be a vessel of life, so kill your idols. Freedom does not belong to you, but form, not power, but suffering and conceiving. You should make a virtue out of your self-contempt, which I will spread out before men like a carpet. They should walk over it with dirty feet, and you should see to it that you are dirtier than all the feet that step on you. April 21, 1914. If I tame you, beast, I give others the opportunity to tame their beasts. The taming begins with you, my eye, nowhere else. Not that you, stupid brother, I, had been particularly wild. There are some who are wilder, but I must whip you until you endure the wildness of the others. Then I can live with you. If someone does you wrong, I will torment you to death until you have forgiven the wrong suffered, yet not just by paying lip service, but also in your heavy heart with its heinous sensitivity. Your sensitivity is your particular form of violence. Therefore, listen, brother in my solitude. I've prepared every kind of torture for you if it should ever occur to you again to be sensitive. You should feel inferior. You should be able to bear the fact that one calls your purity dirty and that one desires your dirtiness, that one praises your wastefulness as miserliness and your greed as a virtue. Fill your beaker with the bitter drink of subjugation, since you are not your soul. Your soul is with the fiery God who flamed up to the roof of the heavens. Should you still be sensitive, I notice that you are forging secret plans for revenge, plotting deceitful tricks. But you are an idiot. You cannot take revenge on fate. Childish one, you probably even want to lash the sea. Build better bridges instead. That is a better way to squander your wit. You want to be understood? That's all we needed. Understand yourself, and you will be sufficiently understood. You will have quite enough work in hand with that. Mothers, yeah, Mother's little dears want to be understood. Understand yourself. That is the best protection against sensitivity and satisfies your child who's longing to be understood. I suppose you want to turn others into slaves of your desirousness again. But you know that I must live with you and that I will no longer tolerate such abject plaintiveness. Okay. Footnote, Jung later described as self-criticism depicted in this opening section as the confrontation with the shadow. In 1934, he wrote, whoever looks into the mirror of the water will see first of all his own image. Whoever goes to himself risks a confrontation with himself. The mirror does not flatter. It faithfully shows whatever looks into it, namely the face we never show to the world because we cover it with the persona, the mask of the actor. But the mirror lies behind the mask and shows the true face. This confrontation is the first test of courage on the inner way, a test sufficient to frighten off most people, for the meeting with ourselves belongs to the more unpleasant things that can be avoided as long as one can project everything negative into the environment. But if we're able to see our own shadow and can bear knowing about it, then a small part of the problem has already been solved. We've at least brought up the personal unconscious. Press on. So it's the second. It has a like a one, and I was reading what was under one, and now I'm reading what's under two. There are numbers, but they're small, easily missed. After I had spoken these and many more angry words to my eye, I noticed that I began to bear being alone with myself. But the touchiness still stirred in me frequently, and I had to lash myself just as often. And I did this until even the pleasure in self-torment faded. This is on April 30, 1914. Jung resigned as a lecturer in the medical faculty of University of Zurich. Okay, we now go immediately to May 8th, 1914. So there's a gap. There's a gap in the entries in Black Book 5 between April 21 and May 8th. Although we were just on April 30. So the discussions referred to in the previous paragraph do not appear to have been recorded. Okay, goes on. Then I heard a voice one night. It came from afar and was the voice of my soul. She spoke. How distant you are. I. Is that you, my soul? From which height and distance do you speak? She. I am above you. I am a world apart. I have become sunlike. I have received the seeds of fire. Where are you? I can hardly find you in your mists. I am down on the muddy earth, and the dark smoke that the fire left us, and my gaze does not reach you. My gaze does not reach you, but your voice sounds closer. I feel it. The heaviness of the earth penetrates me. Damp cold enshrouds me. Gloomy memories of former pain overcome me. I do not lower yourself into the smoke and the darkness of the earth. I would like that. I would like that which I am still working on. I would like that which I am still working on to remain sunlike. Otherwise, I will lose the courage to live further down in the darkness of the earth. Let me just hear your voice. I will never want to see you in the flesh again. Say something. Say something. Take it from the depths, from which fear perhaps flows to me. I cannot, since your creative source flows from there. All right, you see my uncertainty. The uncertain way is the good way. Upon it lie possibilities. Be unwavering and create. I heard the rushing of wings. I knew that the bird rose higher above the clouds in the fiery brilliance of the outspread Godhead. And now, May 21, 1914. I turned to my brother, the eye. He stood sadly and looked at the ground and sighed, and would rather have been dead, since the burden of enormous suffering burdened him. But a voice spoke from me and said, it is hard, the sacrifice fall left and right, and you will be crucified for the sake of life. And I said to my eye, my brother, how do you like this speech? But he sighed deeply and moaned, quote, it is bitter and I suffer much. To which I answered, I know, but it is not to be altered. But I did not know what that was. since I still did not know what the future held. This happened on the 21st of May, the year 1914. In the excess of suffering, I looked up to the clouds and called out to my soul and asked her. And I heard her voice, happy and bright, and she answered, much happiness has happened to me. I rise higher, my wings grow. I was seized with bitterness at these words, and I cried, you live from the blood of the human heart. I heard her laughing, or was she not laughing? Quote, no drink is dearer to me than red blood. Powerless anger seized me, and I called out, if you were not my soul who followed the god to the eternal realm, I would call you the most terrible scourge of men. But who moves you? I know that divinity is not humanity. The divine consumes the human. I know that this is the severity, this is the cruelty. He who has felt you with his hands can never remove the blood from his hands. I've become enslaved to you. She answered, do not be angry, do not complain. Let the bloody victims fall at your side. It is not your severity, it is not your cruelty, but necessity. The way of life is sown with fallen ones. Wow, these two. Anyway, she says, he says, I. Yes, I see, it is a battlefield. My brother, what is with you? Are you groaning? Then my I answered, why should I not groan and moan? I load myself with the dead and cannot hold their number. But I did not understand my I, and therefore spoke to him. You are a pagan, my friend. Have you not heard that it is said, let the dead bury their dead? It's Matthew 8:21 to 22. Why do you want to be burdened with the dead? You do not help them by hauling them. Then my eye wailed, but I pity the poor fallen ones. They cannot reach the light. Perhaps if I haul them, what is this? Their souls have accomplished as much as they could. Then they encountered fate. It will also happen to us. Your compassion is sick. But my soul called from afar, leave him compassion. Compassion binds life and death. These words of my soul stung me. She spoke of compassion, she who rose up following the God without compassion. And I asked her, this is on May 23rd, 1914, why did you do that? Why did you do that? For my human sensitivity could not grasp the hideousness of that hour. She answered, it is not meant for me to be in your world. I besmirch myself on the excrement of your earth. Am I not earth? Am I not excrement? Did I commit an error that forced you to follow the god into the upper realm? She, no, it was in a necessity. I belong to the above. I, has no one suffered an irreplaceable loss through your disappearance? She, on the contrary, you have enjoyed utmost benefit. If I heed my human feeling about this, doubt could come over me. She, what have you noticed? Why should what you see always be untrue? It is your particular wrong that you cannot stop making a fool of yourself. But can you not remain on your way for once? I, you know that I doubt because of my love for men. She, no, for the sake of your weakness, for the sake of your doubt and disbelief. Stay on your way and do not run away from yourself. There is a divine and a human intention. They cross each other in stupid and God-forsaken people, to whom you also belong from time to time. Since what my soul spoke about referred to nothing that I could see, nor could I see what my eye suffered from, since this happened 2 months before the outbreak of the war, I wanted to understand it all as personal experiences within me, and consequently I could neither understand nor believe it all, since my belief is weak. And I believe that it is better in our time if belief is weak. We have outgrown that childhood where mere belief was the most suitable means to bring men to what is good and reasonable. Therefore, if we wanted to have a strong belief again today, we would thus return to that earlier childhood. But we have so much knowledge and such a thirst for knowledge in us that we need knowledge more than belief. But the strength of belief would hinder us from attaining knowledge. Belief certainly may be something strong, but it is empty, and too little of the whole man can be involved. And too little of the whole man can be involved if our life with God is grounded only on belief. Should we simply believe first and foremost? That seems too cheap to me. Men who have understanding should not just believe, but should wrestle for knowledge to the best of their ability. Belief is not everything, but neither is knowledge. Belief does not give us the security and the wealth of knowing. Desiring knowledge sometimes takes away too much belief. Both must strike a balance. But it is also dangerous to believe too much, because today everyone has to find his own way and encounters in himself a beyond full of strange and mighty things. He could easily take everything literally with too much belief, and would be nothing but a lunatic. The childishness of belief breaks down in the face of our present necessities. We need differentiating knowledge to clear up the confusion which the discovery of the soul has brought in. Therefore, it is perhaps much better to await better knowledge before one accepts things all too believingly. Therefore, it is perhaps much better to await better knowledge before one accepts things all too believingly. Yes, hang on. It's as it said. This is such an important paragraph. Check this out. But it is also dangerous to believe too much of you of Jung, because today everyone has to find his own way and encounters in himself a beyond full of strange and mighty things. In himself, he can easily take everything literally with too much belief, and would be nothing but a lunatic. The childishness of belief breaks down in the face of our present necessities. Yes, we need differentiating knowledge to clear up the confusion which the discovery of the soul has brought in. Therefore, it is perhaps much better to await better knowledge before one accepts things all too believingly. He's been trying and trying to push us away from him the entire time. Anyway, it goes on. From these considerations, I spoke to my soul. Is all that to be accepted? Is all that to be accepted? You know in what sense I ask this. It is not stupid and unbelieving to ask thus, but it is doubting of a higher type. But is doubting of a higher type. To this she answered, I understand you, but it is to be accepted. To which I replied, the solitude of this acceptance terrifies me. I dread the madness that befalls the solitary. She answered, as you already know, I have long predicted solitude for you. You need not be afraid of madness. What I predict is valid. These words filled me with disquiet, since I felt that I could almost not accept what my soul predicted, because I did not understand it. I always wanted to understand it with regard to myself. Therefore, I said to my soul, what misunderstood fear torments me? She said, that is your disbelief, your doubt. You do not want to believe in the size of the sacrifice that is required, but it will go on to the bitter end. But it will go on to the bitter end. Greatness requires greatness. You still want to be too cheap. Did I not speak to you of abandonment, of leaving be? Do you want to have it better than other men? No, I replied. No, that is not it. But I fear committing an injustice to men if I go my own way. What do you want to avoid? She said. There is no avoidance. You must go your own way, unconcerned about others, no matter whether they are good or bad. You have laid your hand on the divine, which those have not. I could not accept these words since I feared deception. Therefore, I also did not want to accept this way that forced me into dialogue with my soul. I preferred to speak with men, but I felt compelled toward solitude, and I feared at the same time the solitude of my thinking, which departed from accustomed paths. We're now at May 24, 1914. As I pondered this, my soul spoke to me. Did I not predict dark solitude for you? I know, I answered, but I did not really think that it would happen. Must it be so? She, you can only say yes. There is nothing to do other than for you to take care of your cause. If anything should happen, it can only happen on this way. So it is hopeless, I cried, to resist solitude. It is utterly hopeless. You should be forced into your work. As my soul spoke thus, an old man with a white beard and a haggard face approached me. In Black Book 4 continues, he is like one of the old saints, one of the first Christians who lived in the desert. I asked him what he wanted with me, to which he replied, I am a nameless one of the many who lived and died in solitude. The spirit of the times and the acknowledged truth required this from us. Look at me, you must learn this. Things have been too good for you. But, I replied, is this another necessity in our not so very different time? He, It is as true today as it was yesterday. Never forget that you are a man, and therefore you must bleed for the goal of humanity. Practice solitude assiduously, without grumbling, so that everything will in time become ready. You should become serious, and hence take your leave from science. There's too much childishness in it. Your way goes toward the depths. Science is too superficial, mere language, mere tools. But you must set to work. Like Book 5 continues. Am I scholastic? Sorry, I. Am I scholastic? Soul. Not that, but scientific. Science is a new version of scholasticism. It needs to be surmounted. I. Is it not enough yet? Do I thus not counter the spirit of the time if I dissociate myself from science? Soul. You are not supposed to dissociate yourself, but consider that science is merely your language. I. Which depth do you require me to advance to? Soul. Forever above yourself and the present. I want to, but what should happen? I often feel I can no longer. Often feel I can no longer. So you must put in extra work. Provide respite. Too many take up your time. I. Will a sacrifice arise too? So you must. Okay. So, and as it said, your way goes toward the depths. Science is too superficial, mere language, mere tools, but you must set to work. I did not know what work was mine, since everything was dark, and everything became heavy and doubtful, and an endless sadness seized me and lasted for many days. Then, one night, I heard the voice of an old man. He spoke slowly, heavily, and his sentences appeared to be disconnected and terribly absurd, so that the fear of madness seized me again. For he spoke the following words, and this is on May 25, 1914. It is not yet the evening of days. The worst comes last. The hand that strikes first strikes best. Nonsense streams from the deepest wells, amply like the Nile. Morning is more beautiful than night. Flowers smell until they fade. Ripeness comes as late as possible in spring, or else it misses its purpose. These sentences that the old man spoke to me on the night of the 25th of May of the year 1914 appear to me dreadfully meaningless. I felt my eye squirm in pain. It moaned and wailed about the burden of the dead that rested on it. It seemed as if I had to carry 1,000 dead. This sadness did not leave till 24th of June 1914. Like book continues. 5. Ha, this book, I've laid hands on you again, banal and pathological and frantic and divine, my written unconscious. You have forced me to my knees again. Here I am. Say what you have to say. In the night, my soul spoke to me. The greatest comes to the smallest. After this, nothing further was said, and then the war broke out. This opened my eyes about what I had experienced before, and it also gave me the courage to say all of that which I've written in the earlier part of this book. Okay, I'm going to call that Scrutinies Section 1. It continues until page 336 in the 2009 volume, and we'll pick it up next time.